Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa u'minu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu arsalahu bil huda wa dinil haqq liyudhhirahu ala ad-din kullihi wallahu karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. And this way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوثق الأمور كلمة التقوى وخير الملال ملة إبراهيم وخير السنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوزموها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفع وخير الهادي ما أتبع وشر الأمة أما الكلام. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. The best acts are those that yield benefits. The best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmaru bil-adli wal-ihsani wa-ita'i dhil-qurba wa-yanha anil-fashai wal-munkari wal-baghi ya'idukum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good and liberality and kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan willeth to guide, He opened their breasts to Islam. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu attaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutuna illa wa antum muslimun. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in the state of Islam. وَأَتَصِّمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold fast altogether by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. You are the best of peoples, raised for mankind because you enjoin the right, forbid the wrong, and you believe in Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا نودي للصلوات من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله البعية ذلكم خير إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت الصلوات فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. O you believe when the call is proclaimed to prayer on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of Allah and leave off business and traffic. That's best for you if you but knew. And when the prayer is finished, then you may disperse through the land and seek the bounty of Allah and remember Allah frequently, that you may prosper. But when they see some bargain or some pastime, they disperse headlong to it and leave thee standing. Say, that which is with Allah is better than any pastime or bargain. And Allah is the best to provide for all needs. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Actually, I'm going to start by reading from our next program, which will be Sunday, July 28th at 1:30 p.m. in the Masjid. And there's some flyers over there if anyone wants to take some, and if you want to give to a few friends, take a few with you. Title of the program is Nonviolent Resistance in the 21st Century. Nonviolence in the 21st Century. As we move along about our transition and transformational periods, when we deal with the role of Islamic movement, and when we also deal with the evolution of the Islamic movement in North America, we will cover the subject nonviolent resistance in the 21st century. Our view of nonviolent resistance and what it is. Our view of nonviolent resistance is not just staying away from the system of the government or what have you, or boycotts and demonstrations and what have you. For us, nonviolent resistance means developing an alternative system. For instance, we will get into some of our major problems that we have in modern society. For instance, we might have drugs as a big problem in the society. We might have homelessness in this society that we live in today. And we want to discuss on Sunday after next our view and our solution to these problems. Of course, if you go back in ancient history, the church and the family was always the institution that took care of like old people and sick people. There was no institution down the street that you go to called a hospital or anything like that, right? When you got sick, if there was a doctor in the region, you would call him. He would come to your house. Actually, when I was a kid, many of us that was born in the South was born at home. Because they ain't never seen the inside of a hospital. This is brand spanking new. So when we think of problems in the society, and we'll get to them in a minute. If you think about homelessness, if you think about poverty, if you think about all of those social ills that we have in the society, even psychological problems, if you think about what was Jesus' mission, think about it. The Bible says he came to heal the sick, raise the dead, and cast out devils. Heal the sick means that the society, that if we work at it hard enough, we don't have to beg the government for medical care. We have enough institution on our own to build our own medical care facilities. We just don't do it. As far as poverty, what did the Bible say about the meek and the hungry? Right? Blessed are the meek, they shall inherit the earth. Is that right? So, for the Christian, do you think Jesus, if he came back right now, do you think he would be going inside the churches? Heck no. He was out hanging out with the people, isn't that right? The homeless and the poor. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, when I'm raised up, I want to be raised up with the poor. The only problem is, which we'll get to later, is the preachers and the imams have forgotten. They're messing with one of our big properties in Oakland, but we'll take care of it, it's no problem. Why? Because that's the one that was designated openly and clearly as our first homeless shelter. Free homeless shelter. 3-star homeless shelter. We start off with 3.5 stars, we get to 4 or 5 later on. That means you won't be just up in there, get in by this time o'clock. No. When you serve your food, we ain't gonna give you no Quranic verses and Bible verses. You got us hymns to sing, right? No. We gonna come up to you and ask you, what would you like for breakfast, Mr. Jones, or whatever your name is, right? And the people in the back go get an order. Mr. Jones wants some eggs and turkey bacon, and he wants waffles. Big puffy waffles. And the people are going to bring him out his stuff just like he ordered in the top-star restaurant. If we have the money, we should do it like that, isn't that right? The drug treatment center, you got to wait outside, you got to get on the list. Imagine, take the churches and the Masjid in the city. Suppose a few of the big ones designated themselves as the drug treatment centers. Instead of everybody wasting all that time jumping up and down and singing hymns, they'll use the auditorium, convert it into a dormitory, right, for people to stay and get drug treatment center. Get drug treatment. They got the money, they got the people, right? It's just that the people done forgot Jesus' mission. Number one, don't nobody want all them homeless folks in their church, right? Because they bums. They forgot Jesus' mission, isn't that right? The imams, you go to a big masjid, say, I need a little help, and I to stay for the night. They'll tell you, you get a slip and you go to some Negro Masjid and get the Imam to sign that you exist. That's the help you're going to get. And they got money rolling out of their ears. They forgot the mission of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Someone came and said, "Oh Rasulullah," one guy, he was kind of messed up. He said, "Oh Rasulullah, I done messed up. I had sex with my wife doing something Ramadan." He said, "Can I do anything?" He said, "You give some away in charity." He said, "I don't have nothing." So he said, "Just wait here, somebody come." He said, "Y'all got somebody to get his brother so he can give it away in charity." So they gave him stuff. He said, "Now, Rasulullah, am I supposed to give this to the poorest people around?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I'm the poorest guy in town." You know what the Prophet told him? "Take it, get on out of here." You see, the guy, he won all the way around. But that's the way. I went to Dallas one time when my friend was, I don't want to stray from the subject, was the head of the board of directors way back. This wasn't long ago. It's right outside of Dallas. This is a big masjid. You see it on TV all the time. The parking lot look like a football field parking lot they got. So I went and I said, "Hey, I'd like to make an announcement and have my box here. I want to stand and make an announcement and just raise a few funds. Mainly it's for Imam Jamil." "Oh, you got to come back tomorrow." I came back the next day. They said, "We got to think about it." So I had to think about it in my mind. So right after my group, I went out in the front and I popped my box open, and a brother came in. He was from Sri Lanka. He said, "Imam Musa, I haven't seen you, man, since up in Iowa. Da, 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 da. Remember when I stayed with y'all when I was going to check in at Berkeley? And back in 82, it was 82, 83. I said, "Yeah, man." He said, "I'm going to go in and pray, then I'll come back out and holler at you." So as he was going to pray, he walked by the office. He took out some keys and he had to put something in the office. I said, "Just a minute." I said, "By any chance, are you the head of the board of directors around here?" He said, "Yes." So when he finished praying, I said, "Man, I want to make an announcement about it." He said, "Go ahead." I just made a simple announcement after prayer, raised $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, something like that. I came back a year later, he wasn't the head board of directors anymore, guy from Somalia. I said, "Hey man, I'd like to just make an announcement that we don't have any walk-ins." I said, at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, everybody was a walk-in. They walked in and said, "I have me," and one guy said, "This brother need a camel." One of the brothers said, "I don't have one, but I'll lead him to a guide, take him to a guide and they give him one." And this is what Hadith says, that anyone leads someone to the guidance will get to the same reward as one that's given them the guidance. You see? That's Islam. Okay, that's our view of nonviolent resistance, is developing your own stuff. We got the money, we got the time, we got the people. I'll get to that later and I'm going to speed up. Evolution of Islamic movement in North America. We have inherited the progressive movement for human development in the United States. We have, the Muslims. Freedom Rise, civil rights, black power, black nationalism, right? then BLA, Black Liberation Army stuff, then Islam. In the beginning, we was managing that movement very well because the civil rights movement had transformed to us. But we let it go by. Now we're talking about moving back to it. Transition, transformation, and transcendence. When you accept Islam, there's an automatic transformation. Whatever we did before in Jahiliyyah, when we come to Islam, we make a transformation. Because remember, think about it. Literally, not everything we did in Jahiliyyah was haram, but most of it was. The food we ate was haram, right? Think about that. The things we drank, those of us that drink, which is 96.5% of us, of course, was haram, right? The clothes we wore and the way we wore and our social relations and getting high and everything else was haram. And most of us was not married to our girlfriend no matter how many children we had. Our relationship was haram. This is generally speaking. When we came to Islam, we made a transformation. And all our relatives said, that boy used to have sense. Now he become a Muslim. He don't drink, he don't smoke, he don't get high, and he done got married. That boy is crazy. Isn't that what they say? Our relatives say. Living a good, clean life means something we done went crazy. But when we was a fool, the maximum idiot in the region, we was all right. Transformation, transition. We change from one thing from another, from darkness to light. That's the transition, but the transformation is that we become a new type being. It's not like being born again, because this don't happen overnight. It's a long process, right? We don't stop smoking weed the first night we take shahada. We ease off of it, and hopefully by a reasonable amount of time, we're not getting high anymore. Of course, we might make a few excuses. Natural, it's a herb, it's a medicine for my coma, for my heart rhythm, right? And now that it's legal in a lot of places, well, I take Tylenol 3, it's got codeine in it, you know what I mean? And for my super back pain, when I was in the hospital, they gave me some had a little morphine in it. I took that. They said it's all right. So now that my eyes is puffed up a little, I feel a little anxious from time to time, right? And I want to sit back and watch a nice TV program, and I need my medicine. Marijuana, isn't that right? Don't you hear that they grow now? White folks, everybody. Oh, my little child needs a little to smoke a little weed. Because, you know, she gets anxious from time to time. And I light it for her and help her out. You know, see how it's done. And she's made a wonderful recovery. Of course, you got to do it kind of regular. Right? So this is the way we are too. Anyway, we'll speed up. Transcendence is when we go above and beyond all the gravitational pulls of things that hold us down. The role of Islamic leadership in the early and mid 21st century is to analyze the environmental circumstances, as we call it, and strategic management under conditions, under repression. Is we have to scan our environment. We have to study our environment. Its history, its culture, its method of doing things, right? That's called scanning the environment. Then the leadership is supposed to make a plan of strategy based on the realities of what we live in, the time we live in, right? And if yesterday, a day before yesterday, they said that the Supreme Court said, oh, the Muslim bill is fine. Yeah, just keep them on out of here, right? That's what they said. The Muslim ban is fine. Of course, the Constitution don't say that. The First Amendment, there shall be no infringement of what? Freedom of speech, press, and religion. The government cannot affect anything or do anything, supposedly, that affect your religion. And they're not supposed to infiltrate your group or your church like they was doing Martin Luther King, a religious man, isn't that right? They weren't supposed to do that under the Constitution, not that it means anything. But the role of Islamic leadership is to scan our environment, to study the environment and make a realistic assessment of what's going on in the environment. Then they're supposed to make a plan, a strategy, then they should implement that plan. And then as they implement that plan, they should go around and restudy themselves and go through an accountability process. How well have we done? Have we reached our goals and whatever we want to do? That's what we should do. That's the role of leadership. Vision and a mission. I'm going to read what we believe the Quranic vision and mission for the Muslims in North America. Who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, work righteous deeds, and say, I am of those who bow in Islam, nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better. Then will be between whom and thee was hatred become as it were thy friend and enemy. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience and self-restraint. None but those persons of the greatest good fortune. Now, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, same thing I read. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّا دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّا دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. What is the best speech that we can make? What is the best invitation that we can make? Invite people to Allah. Right? When we talk about homeless shelters and all those things, we can do that. We're inviting people to Islam by, then it goes on to say, وَعَامِلَ صَالِحًا. Amilu salihan. Righteous deeds. Who wants somebody running their mouth about how good Islam is? Right? Show me what you're talking about. Amilu salihat. Working, practicing righteous deeds. This is the mission from the Quran. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everybody look, what should we do? Then in a time like this, وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Yes, I am a Muslim. I'm glad to be a Muslim. Thank God, thanks to Allah, I was running around here acting what I was doing and you was doing and we was all doing. And Allah allowed me to find Islam to rescue us from an unfortunate direction. Isn't that right? We're happy to say that. We're not scared of no dummies like Donald Trump and all them clowns. Bump that fool. We're not going to hide in the Masjid, oh, I'm scared to death. We're not scared to death of the bums. What they going to do to the Negro that they haven't done? We didn't have Jim Crow, we didn't have Red Crow, and anything you can imagine, and we still here. If we ain't left by now, we may not be going nowhere till Allah calls back, because the system did everything it could. وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَاتُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَاتُ أَدْفَعَ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ. Nor can goodness and evil be equal. Tastawi, it became equal, or to equalize, to become straight. So it's telling, do not equalize evil for evil. Do not return evil for evil. Now we have a right. The old European have treated us pretty bad, isn't that right? We could return the hadith allows an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It allows that. But the Quran always stresses to return good for evil. That's better for you if you but knew, right? We read it all the time. So do not equalize their evil with evil. Equalize, normalize, repel their evil. The system, they got every ton of tricks. They got so many tricks to catch the Negro, put him in jail and kill him, and it's unbelievable. Don't nobody know a lot of those tricks but us, because half our relatives have got caught up, somebody, right? Other people come here, they go to the university, they keep their mouth shut and do their business. They don't know what's going on. They said the black people are just lazy, that's all. They just don't want to work hard. If they worked hard like us, then they would be physically successful. So then it says, Adawatun ka'annahu waliyun hamimun. That enmity, that hostility, says, then it will he between whom and thee was hatred. So let's be just very kind of specific. The evil and the hatred that existed between us and the system, and the past white folks in the system, right? Waliyun, wali, you know wali, friend, protector. Hamimun, if we do this right, it may be that the people between whom there was hatred, mistrust, and all type of fitna, you may become their wali. Friend, not no just everyday friend. Hamim is like warm water, boiling water. You gonna become, we go through this Quran and live it, we're gonna become their warm and fuzzy friend. That's why the government get mad when we started talking a couple of years ago about opium and all the statistics about how white folks was dying like flies, still are. Beating us to the death house. Some white folks with this Narcan, whatever it is, they come back from ODing 10 times and still ain't got no sense. Man, if the Negro almost OD'd and he'd come back, he'd be, for 2 weeks, he'd be like, man, I'm gonna straighten up. Not the white boys. Boy, they hit him with that Narcan, they done OD. 2 seconds from death, they jump back up, ready to go. That afternoon, they back at the dope house. Same place they got the stuff that the doggone near killed them. Some of the white folks is ODing 5 and 10 times. The same rescue people come to the same house and pick up the same dope fiend. We didn't get that shot. Have you noticed on TV now, heroin addicts is not mean old low-down dope-fiend Negroes. It's a disease. Would you blame someone for having cancer? Tuberculosis? No, because it's a disease. Drug addiction is a disease. Yeah, because now 90% of the dope fiends is white folks. All this new dope they got. The Negro lacks standard heroin, you know what I mean, where you nod and stuff like that. But white folks is using all, the Negro is too, but white folks is dying so fast, 70,000 a year, 100 and something a day in America. And remember years ago we gave the talks on, we wanted to help white people understand that they are a target. Who's the target? The white man. Remember the statistics? The white man between 33 and 50 years old is the one dying the most. What's so special about him? He's the one that got all the guns. And he feels entitlement. I'm an American. I deserve to be this, that, and other, and I need you owe me a chance. But he's not needed anymore. They don't have no job for him. And when you go to the movie, you remember the white man, the hero, the white man was jumping off buildings. He could shoot the eye out of a tiger 100 yards. You know, they didn't aim the gun, they shoot, bam. Remember them old bam, bam. I said, how do they aim? He was a hero. And the white woman was just walking along and she'd fall down, the white man would save her all the time. But now, that white man is not needed. And they're rubbing it in his face. Every time he go to the movie, the white girl is falling in love with a nigga. Go to the movie, tell the truth. Wait, just look at it. Now, we were stringing him up for looking at her a few years back. Remember, y'all don't remember Reckless Eyeballs. Does anybody remember Reckless Eyeballs? That is, your eyeballs happen to look at a white girl, they'd string your behind up, and now, all the heroes, I don't go to the movie, the Negro and the white girl and the mixed kids is the look of the future. All you darkies, your time to pass, buddy. It just passed you by, you know. Now, who's in? Mixed race. And the Negro, go to any movie. Look at the fashion magazine. There's niggas and white girls that's holding hands, and that's the new look, isn't that right? That white man don't have no job. He's over there in Ohio, over there in Kentucky, and all them places. And he can shoot the eye of a tiger at 500 yards. And you see all of them got all them guns. That's why they're killing all them school children and all that, so they can take guns from him, not from you. They know who you gonna shoot. You gonna shoot another nigga because you've been trained. Don't you worry about that. The Negro shooting the police and the white man. He ain't gonna do that. Well, maybe every now and then. So we've been trying to get to the white people to tell them that you are a specific target by this system. It's not accidental. But by the time they let us reach them, they'll be and killed them all. Just like they targeted the Negro. Remember the rebellion days? Remember all the cities we was moving in? Detroit, Oakland, all them cities? DC? Remember those days? The next day, heroin flooded in. You studied the 10 most heroin-infected cities in the 1970s. It was the 10 most rebellious cities in the 60s. That's just statistically true. Okay, I'm going to speed up. So who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, work righteous deeds, and says, I am of those who bow in Islam, nor can goodness and evil be equal. repel the evil that they done to us with good. Amanu salih. Then it may be between whom and thee was hatred. We want to heal the system. We want to heal the people. We don't want to blame the people for being sick. We want to help heal them. You know, the Quran is a rahmah, is ash-shifa. Ash-shifa is a healing. It's a medicine. It's a medicine. It's a tonic. The Quran is a tonic to heal all the sicknesses, physical, spiritual, psychological. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience, self-restraint, none but the person of the greatest good fortune. So what we're trying to do now is translate the experiences that we've had. So we hope all of y'all come next Sunday after next, July 8th at 1:30. Okay, what I want to do now is close by reading a letter that's 10 years old. It speaks to the same subject. This letter is 10 years old, about 10 years old. Some of you have passed it out to the churches. It's letter of introduction to the D.C. area churches. So you won't think that we came up with this concoction last night. Peace be upon those who follow the God-inspired guidance. That's the way you greet people that are not Muslim. Peace be upon those who follow the guidance. My name is Abdul-Alim Musa. I'm the Imam, the minister or pastor of Masjid al-Islam, which is located on the corner of Benning Road and C Street, that is pictured above. We have served the Southeast community for over 20 years now, so that was 10 years ago. Before I moved to Benning Road, we were located at 5021 H Street. We would like to start by congratulating the Black Church for its historical preservation of our humanity as a people in the face of outstanding obstacles, including slavery, Jim Crow, lynching, burning, the struggle for civil rights, and now the destruction of the black family. It is those who believe in those who believe in the Quran, those who follow the Jewish scripture, and the Christians and the Sabians, any who believe in Allah and the last day and work righteousness, shall have their reward with their Lord. On them shall be no fear, nor shall we grieve. Again, I didn't make that up. Everybody, they'll try to tell you, don't work with them people, they ain't no Muslim, and on and on and on. Inna ladina amanu. Walladina hadu, Jews. And Nasara, Sabiqun, Nasara, Christians. Sabiqun, people in ancient times that used to get baptized, would die and ink and stuff. Amana billahi, one of the things of Islam is amanta billah, I believe in Allah, right? This says any of those. Man amana billahi wal yawm al-akhirah, and the day of judgment. Wa amila salihan falahum ajruhum inda rabbihim wala khawfun alayhim wala hum yahzanun. Same thing I read. Those who believe in the Quran, those who follow the Jewish scripture, Yahoo, and the Christians, Nasara, and the Sabians, any who believe in Allah and the last day and work righteousness shall have their reward with their Lord, and no fear shall come upon them, and grief. I read that because that's an ayat that I had put in there, especially for we're reaching out to the Christian community. Now, I read this church, this one of the biggest churches in Oakland. It happened to be a friend of mine. And I said, man, I want to read something to y'all. So I got up and read it to the congregation. Well, what does that mean? We start off by thanking the black church. Now, we used to rile and jump up and down at them crazy Christians believing in the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. We ain't mentioned the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. We just mentioned the part of the Quran that's directing us in the way that we need to be going in this case. So, what does it say? Those who believe in Quran and those who follow the Jewish scriptures and the Christians and the Sabians, any who believe in Allah and the last day, Yawm, and work righteousness shall have their reward with their Lord. On them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. So we're telling them, we want to thank you for keeping the black people, human beings, after slavery. So what? Well, think about it. After slavery, we didn't know nothing. Isn't that right? We didn't have no guidance. We didn't have no place to go. We was just, you are free. Now the white folks could go out and get 160 acres, 140 acres. Isn't that right? All they had to do was go west. Later on, they allowed a few Negroes in Oklahoma and other places to get a little free land. But in general, you was just out of luck. The only institution that was around in those days to keep us from being an animal was the church. I'm not talking about the old mystical church. I'm talking about the church, you know, when they was working toward freedom. Wade in the water, God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Why would you want to be wading in the water? Because the Underground Railroad is coming tonight down by the stream, and the only way you're going to get away from them dogs is wade in the water. God's going to trouble the water, right? See, everybody thought we was singing to old Boss Man, and oh, my dark is just singing, and they was. And they go down Moses, way down in Egypt land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go, right? All of those things. Everything that we got out of the Bible that they telling the man had been one thing. He said, I like that, going across the sea and getting away from slavery. Why do you think old Mary, all of that stuff, everything you heard in the old days, the older people, my age, everything that was the second generation after slavery, all those songs are still there. And they meant something leading toward freedom, all of those songs. Okay? So the church, even in slavery, was still serving a purpose. To keeping us from being a work animal. All right. I'm just talking about the good part now. There's some of it that kind of kept us plantation orientated too. The threats which loom over us today are much greater than ever. We believe that the hope for the future lies in religion. We believe that God has placed us in this position at this time to rescue humanity from humanity. It is clear that the only existing institutions with the capability of taking on such a task are those that are God-centered and mission-orientated. That is, namely, the church, the Masjid. I don't have a synagogue down there, but of course they act a little funny, but if they want to join, that's fine too. Throughout history, when mankind strayed so far from God, the men of God, such as Moses, Jesus Christ, and Muhammad, peace be upon them all, called them to repentance and salvation. In Christianity, it's salvation. And Islam is shahada, or witnessing. Unlike other ideologies and programs which often limit themselves to one sphere of human existence, religious institutions provide an all-encompassing program for individual and collective progress and improvement. They are gifted with all the necessary assets to carry out the great mission of saving humanity. Remember, saving humanity from humanity. Number one, they have a belief system, a vision and values, which emanates from faith in God, righteousness, goodness, and kindness to neighbors. Through this strong foundation, all of what is good and wholesome for mankind is worked toward, and the boundaries given by God are established. Next, the organizational structure. Remember, we have the people. We have a belief system. Christianity, love thy neighbor. Right? Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Ahad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one. That's what it says. And that you should love your neighbor, what? As yourself. That's what it says. The hadith says that Prophet ﷺ said that Allah was admonishing me so much about, Jibril was admonishing me so much about the neighbor, I thought, what? He was going to make the neighbor part of inheritance. Everybody remember that hadith? And if you got something cooking in the pot, add a little water into it, stir it up, let it get a little more thick, and take some to your neighbor. It's prohibited for you to be over there luxuriating and laid back eating everything, and you know your neighbor is hungry. Somebody done strayed away from Islam. Somebody done strayed away from Christianity. Isn't that right? Everybody just doing what they want. They don't care nothing about what the book says. Now, what else do we have? Organizational structure, which provides a framework and lays out the process for realizing the high ideals and faith. We have, you know, when I'm in Oakland, I know a lot of preachers, so I go to the church a lot, you know, just to see what they're talking about. And they ain't talking about much. Boy, but do they have a lot of money. They might raise $25,000 or $30,000 for the senior choir's new robes. Y'all, the senior choir needs some new robes. Brothers and sisters, and we're going to set aside $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 for their robes. The senior choir, that's not the junior choir and the middle choir. And they do it all the time, isn't that right? Suppose the preachers got out of their Benzes and BMWs, the ones that I know, maybe y'all know some different ones. And sharp, and marriages and funerals, do you know the people come here, they say, y'all don't charge for marriage? They say, no, you put something in the box you want. That's our duty, that's our responsibility. We don't charge you for it. What about how much we owe you for the janaza? How much you owe us for a janaza? It's an insanity, but that's what they do. All the Imam said it's going to cost you $400-500 to come all the way over there and pray and full takbir, stuff. Don't cost you. Somebody done forgot about what their religion meant. Suppose the Muslims at Dar al-Hijra and them other joints, the prayer line stretches outside during the week and around the corner on Jum'ah and 4 or 5 different 3 or 4 Jum'ah. What if if they use that money? Where's the money going? What if they use that on the poor, on the hungry, right? Like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. Suppose all of us, let's say Christians and Muslims, the Muslims are going to practice the hadith that we got from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And the Christians are going to do the work Jesus Christ was doing. Did Jesus Christ hang out with the Romans and the politicians? No, he hung out with the poor. Blessed are the poor, blessed are the meek, they shall inherit the earth. Remember the Sermon on the Mount? All of that, right? So our job, and if you think that ain't something to do, try to convince your homeboys who are preachers. Man, that's a nice the big BMW, hey man, suppose you did the work. I noticed y'all have a nice little session of the choir kick in. They start passing out the envelopes, holding them up in their hand, and then they walk on by, and they fill up the envelope, and they be singing. I said, boy, y'all be hustling. I said, not hustling. So y'all be really collecting. One of my partners, yeah, man, I'm going such and such. He was a big dope dealer like me, and he was actually saying it just like he was dealing dope. Not that I thought he was joking, but he asked me when I accepted Islam, because when he got a big case in California, he jumped in the church. So he came by when we opened our first mosque. He said, man, why you open a mosque? Why you didn't do, He accepted it. He became a preacher because he didn't want to go to penitentiary. And he thought I was doing the same thing. I said, well, I didn't. I accepted Islam actually because I actually believed it. That's why I did it, not to avoid going to jail. And everybody knew. So suppose the preachers get them a little Toyota or something, and they start spending that money on the people. And suppose the people, all these churches around here, middle-class Negroes, suppose they break down that cultural barrier. Do you think those Negroes want dope fiends living in their mosques and their churches? No. They don't even want to do the work Jesus is doing. So you think convincing them to do the work that they got in their own Bible is serious. It's right there. You can recite it to him. Didn't Jesus say this? He look at you like you're crazy. Yeah, I read that every week. I say it all the time. I hum it and I dance to it and everything. But I ain't doing it. I mean, helping the poor. I don't want them niggas in there smelling up the church and everything. And if we bring all them poor dope fiends, I'm talking about the great institutions that we have. We can solve the problems we have already. We got the institutions now. They are not working the way they should be. In ancient times, all of that social, psychological, all of that work was done by the religious institutions, right? They were not done by the government. So we already have the money. We already have the people. We already have the ideology. We just don't do it. So what you and I have to do is go out and start doing it. As soon as we get all this legal work out of the way. No, we're starting it right now. We ain't waiting there. It says, go forth whether equipped lightly or heavily, strive and struggle in the way of Allah. All right. Just as the civil rights era, when the church became the foremost vehicle for achieving our goals and dreams, that is, Dr. King. So today, the religious establishment must reach back to its original mission inherited by the prophets and make this earth a place worth living in. Our hopes and dreams and aspirations are very close to yours. Over the years, we have had the opportunity to represent Islam in speeches and interviews on TV and radio and newspapers all over the world, including South Africa, Botswana, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Iran, and all over Europe. We have made friends all over the world. Yet in the United States, the media has branded us as terrorists and anti-Americans. Honestly, who can we terrorize in Southeast D.C.? Well, this is 10 years ago. Now there's a few white folks. Maybe we could terrorize them. They're walking their dogs up and down Benning Road. Maybe we could terrorize their dog. Jump out and holler at the dog or something. That will terrorize white folks. As our neighbors will testify, we have only been an asset here in the Southeast. In my travels, I have been steadfast and forthright in explaining the two war policies of the U.S. government manufactured by FBI and CIA. Now that people don't like this because it sounds political. Number one, the war on drugs. This is actually a war on black people characterized by the following aims: destroying the family and community in which it has been 100% effective, taking away constitutional rights. You're in a high crime area, therefore the threshold for your rights is lower. They can pull you over more, they can search your car without a warrant because you live in a high crime neighborhood that they created for you. Turning urban centers into police states, criminalizing the whole black and Latino community. Number two, the war against Islam. The Muslim threat is in actuality meant to achieve the following goals. A, stopping the global Islamic revival, which has been steadily gaining momentum across the world from here to Palestine. B, branding all good works of Muslims as terrorism. Like they just put the terrorism bill out there before you say right there. Muslim ban. They're going to ban your brothers. And if they can, they're going to ban you. No Negroes and dogs allowed. Changing the public image of Muslims from advocates of education, development, and social justice to one of terrorists. And this is the closing. We can say with experience and confidence that the biggest dope dealer and terrorist in the world is the United States. Okay. This shows the Negro right here. This is the sharpest Negro in the United States. I have to get you a bigger picture. Y'all saw Superfly, this Proceed Superfly. All this was in California. Everybody out there knows it. We was in the front seat on drug dealers. They create drug dealers. Then, after they done used them up, you're talking about pimping, they try to get rid of it. When they tried to get rid of me, I said, just a minute, boss man. I got enough sense to know that all my big connections, not I was finding them, you was sending them to me. And I ain't going to jail. So I said, if y'all want to cheat, send the poor Negro to the penitentiary, I'm leaving. So we went to Algeria to Panther Body. Then South America. You think cocaine is accidentally? You think that just drugs slow you down? Years ago, it was Bennies, pick you up, then Reds, slow you down, second off. Fender benders, they call them in LA. Then they come with heroin. Then they come with cocaine, right? It's a yo-yo effect. They keep the public thinking, watch these drugs, they go up and down. Who's controlling those? Your friend. I was in Colombia, I lived there. They addicted you and blame you for the problem. You don't have to believe it. That's just what's happening. Okay. The U.S. government and its affiliate media such as Fox News has constantly used perception management and image management techniques to paint us and Islam in an ugly and unrealistic light. These false images hide the truth. The truth is that our community is made up of countless individuals who have witnessed the positive transformational power of Islam, including myself. Through the mercy of Allah, through the mercy of God, I was transformed from being the biggest crime boss and drug dealer in Northern California in the 60s and early 70s to becoming a respected religious personality. I am. I hope you think I'm a respected religious personality. After all, but I mean, there's just something to don't pay no attention to, well, pay a little bit of attention. On one of the flyers about how to pump the FBI, I listed all my credentials. I call them self-certified credentials. In other words, I gave a long list of stuff that didn't exist, but it sounded good. And then I said I gave them to myself. Then I made them mad. I said something about Imam Musa is the most famous or nicest Negro in the world. And that make them mad. You know, you laugh at them and you laugh at yourself. It ain't no big deal. In closing, this transformational power of faith. We really are blessed people. You have to admit it. There ain't nobody in history that was taken somewhere and their language, their culture, and their religion, everything was taken from them. And the one that took it taught them everything they knew. Can you imagine? Everybody that come here have some of their language, some of their food, some of something, except the Negro. They stripped it all away. And it was illegal to speak any of your historical language. Any of it. We even forgot the foods that we was eating. And we came here talking about food. 45% of us was Muslims. But what was eaten, go back 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, when I was born in Arkansas, I used to see it, we used to take them chitlins, you know, y'all, hog guts. Hog guts. And once you smell them, you always smell them. Turn them inside out and you strip that. You talking about goo? Then you boil and put a little mustard on them. The Negro like them chitlins. What did we eat? We ate everything that the white man didn't. Pig feet. The white man didn't eat the feet. At the slaughterhouse, we went to the slaughterhouse, right? And everything that they threw away at the slaughterhouse, that's what became, y'all call them cracklings now, they still have them in the store, cracklings, pig skin, right? They don't give pig skins away no more at the slaughterhouse. They don't give pig feet away no more. They sell it. You go in a store, some of the stores, you see them big old thing with pig feet in there, y'all still see them? They still have them, don't they? With snot, look like snot right now. That was what we ate. Can you imagine? We ate that gladly. It became our delicacy. Man, you put it in pig, you ain't put no fat back in that, even the greens you got. You ain't got no fat back in there with grease on it. What do they call our restaurants? Greasy spoons. What do they call it? Greasy spoon. Did your mama have a can on the stove? Did they? Tell the truth. Anybody here remember that can on the stove with a little strainer? Y'all don't remember. Y'all don't remember. The grease can. Y'all don't remember? Does anybody remember the grease can? The grease can for what? Pork grease. Man, in the 50s, we ran in California, we ran across Crisco. I said, Mama, what is that? I said, that's Crisco, son. We didn't use it all the time, every now and then for special little cookings. But 90% of the time, you use that bacon grease, right? And remember how ashy we was? We used Dixie Peach and then some of the girls on their legs, think about it from the country now, I'm not talking about up here. When we ran out of regular oil, the girls would grease their legs down because they didn't want to be ashy, right? I don't know people not ashy anymore. I don't know, I guess all this cream and stuff. Have you seen an ashy Negro lately? I don't know what happened, but they used to be, ashy. And the girl would be so beautiful, and she would smell like a nice slice of bacon. You didn't know whether to kiss her, or hug her, or just slide her all over, because she smelled like bacon. Keep the ash down. We came through all of that to come to Islam. I'm telling you. Right? So let's do our job. The people, I'll close with this, that was our enemy. The Quran, that was our enemy. We would become their wali, a friend, and intimate. Hamimun, not just we just like white folks, but we just gonna hug white folks is there. For all white folks, we just gonna help you with all your problems. That's actually what it says. They say, man, that's turn the other cheek. No, it's not. It's turn the other cheek times 10. Right? That's what the Quran says. That's our mission in America. If you and I don't help America, America is a goner. Goner, finish. I mean, it won't disappear off the earth. But there'll be nothing redeeming in America in a few years unless the Muslims elevate themselves and help the American people come to Islam. Not convert them to Islam, but you live Islam and they'll take it. Last thing about our immigrant community, they think they want to integrate with America. We are American like you. One thing about the Negro that's gotten you sense. See, we didn't accept Islam to integrate with America because America has not been that nice to the Negro, right? I mean, while we don't want to integrate and to be accepted by America, the thing that the immigrants don't know, you stand up to white folks and they'll respect you, won't they? You come kissing their behind, they'll make, you gotta earn our respect. I said, one white man told me, I'm gonna close. Coming back across the border in Canada, I went up there to pick up a load of books and they was messing with me. And the border patrol or whatever it was, didn't like something. He reached over. I said, what the hell are you doing? Reaching for a gun. This is just a little stop like this. What's wrong with you? You must be a damn fool. I talked to him pretty bad. I don't want you reaching for no gun, and it's just a little check. You don't automatically reach for no gun, messing around with a U.S. citizen. He didn't like the way I was talking, so they took me on into the office and locked me in a room for a while. Then they brought the big chief because my name come up. So it says, one of them says, this is an Italian guy, everybody has to have earned their Americanism. So I earned nothing. So I've been here before all of y'all. What are you talking about? Earning nothing. Not to earn nothing from you. Sucker, I was here before you. I'm not no immigrant that just came over here and I want to be with you. Say, you owe me these rights. They're mine. And I'm taking my own rights. I'm doing what I want to do. I don't care whether you like it or not. And I'm not trying to be friendly to you and the judge and nobody else. Then they leave you alone. They say, go on out here, nigga. They don't say that technically, but that's what they mean. And the immigrant got to learn. But you got to learn first what the mission is for America and the world. Call people to Allah, work righteous deeds and say, I'm a Muslim. Then it'll become between repel evil with good. Don't nobody like that. I want revenge. The Quran don't say revenge. Even if you are allowed revenge, it says to do good deeds is better. Isn't that right? For you if you but knew. Therefore, is it something, would you check those things that it's something burning? I don't think it's burning. Anyway, yeah, just pop a thing on one or two of them and that'll slow it down. Wallah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and negligence. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice it with what is lawful, keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is desired. Ameen. We come to Salah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.